Imagine you're a spider living on the steep slopes of the Namib Desert. Suddenly, a parasitic wasp locks onto you. If it catches you, the outcome is almost certain. The wasp will sting, leaving you paralyzed, then lay an egg on or inside your body. When that egg hatches, the young wasp will slowly consume you while you're still alive. So the spider makes a desperate escape. Instead of running, it folds its legs tightly against its body, throws itself sideways, and launches down the sandy face of the dune. It tumbles over and over at incredible speed, becoming a living wheel that races downhill faster than the wasp can chase. Within seconds, it reaches the bottom, unfolds its legs, and casually walks away as though nothing happened. This remarkable creature is known as the golden wheel spider. For a few brief moments, it performs one of the most extraordinary movements found anywhere in nature. Yet despite its name, it doesn't actually have a wheel. It simply transforms its entire body into one. That tiny detail reveals something much bigger. Life has existed on Earth for roughly 4 billion years. During that time, evolution has experimented with countless body designs. It has produced creatures that swim, fly, burrow, climb, glide, and leap. Yet among every animal that has ever lived, not one has evolved a true wheel attached to its body. Not one. That isn't because wheels are ineffective. In fact, wheels are among the most successful mechanical inventions humans have ever created. The real mystery is why evolution never arrived at the same solution. At first glance, it seems strange. After all, evolution repeats successful ideas all the time. Eyes are a perfect example. Scientists believe complex eyes evolved independently dozens of times in completely unrelated groups of animals. Those lineages didn't inherit eyes from a common ancestor. Instead, evolution solved the same problem again and again because vision was such an enormous advantage. Flight tells a similar story. Insects mastered the air long before dinosaurs. Later, pterosaurs evolved powered flight. After them came birds, and eventually bats. 4 completely different groups reached essentially the same solution through separate evolutionary paths. Nature clearly isn't afraid of reinventing a winning design. Rolling is another behavior that has appeared more than once. Pangolins curl into armored balls when threatened. Woodlice do the same. Some caterpillars escape predators by throwing themselves from leaves and rolling across the ground. Even the golden wheel spider survives by turning its entire body into a spinning escape mechanism. So making something roll isn't the difficult part. The real challenge is building a wheel that stays attached to the body while spinning endlessly. That's a completely different problem. Think about your own arm for a moment. Hold your hand in front of you with your palm facing upward. Now try rotating it in the same direction continuously. You'll quickly reach a point where you simply can't turn any farther. Your bones, muscles, tendons, and ligaments stop you. Reverse direction, and you can rotate again. Keep turning the same way forever, and your body says no. The same limit exists throughout the animal kingdom. No joint found in any living animal can rotate continuously like the axle of a bicycle wheel. Every joint eventually reaches its limit because every moving body part remains connected to the rest of the body. The reason isn't strength, it's plumbing. Every living tissue depends on a constant supply of blood, oxygen, nutrients, and nerve signals. Arteries deliver blood. Veins carry it away. Nerves transmit electrical messages that allow muscles to contract and senses to function. Imagine the charging cable attached to your phone. Twist it once, and nothing happens. Twist it several more times, and it begins to coil. Keep twisting, and eventually the cable becomes tangled or breaks. Your body's internal wiring behaves the same way. If a true wheel were attached to your body, every artery, nerve, tendon, muscle fiber, and connective tissue entering that wheel would twist tighter with every revolution. After only a few turns, those vital connections would snap. Without nerves, the wheel couldn't move. Without blood, its living tissues would die. Every biological connection acts like a leash, preventing unlimited rotation. That single fact places an unavoidable limit on every joint evolution has ever produced. A genuine wheel can't remain connected in the way ordinary limbs are. It would have to be completely separated from the body, sitting inside a socket while spinning freely without twisting anything at all. That sounds simple until you realize just how difficult even a fraction of that movement already is. Consider an owl. Owls can rotate their heads about 270 degrees, far more than humans ever could. Watching one turn its head almost all the way around looks unnatural, even impossible. But that incredible flexibility came with an enormous engineering cost. Owls evolved unusually large openings in the bones of their necks, giving the arteries extra room to shift as the head rotates. Their blood vessels also contain specialized reservoirs that store extra blood, helping maintain circulation to the brain while the neck twists into extreme positions. positions. All of those complex adaptations exist just to safely achieve about 3/4 of a single full rotation. Now imagine a wheel that must rotate endlessly, every second of every day throughout an animal's entire life. Suddenly, the challenge becomes much easier to understand. And as difficult as that problem is, it's only the beginning. Even if evolution somehow solved the plumbing problem and created a wheel that could spin forever without twisting nerves or blood vessels, another obstacle would appear almost immediately. The wheel itself would slowly destroy itself. That may sound surprising because your body already contains plenty of dead material. Your hair is dead. Your fingernails are dead. The outer layer of your skin is made of dead cells. Even the enamel covering your teeth is no longer alive. So why do those structures keep working? Because none of them are truly independent. Every one of them grows from living tissue hidden beneath the surface. Hair is constantly pushed outward from active follicles. Fingernails are produced by living cells under the nail bed. Skin continuously replaces itself. Even tooth enamel depends on the living structures inside the tooth for support during development. The dead material you see is always being renewed from a living source. A wheel doesn't have that luxury. The entire purpose of a wheel is to rotate freely. That means it can't remain permanently connected to living tissue all the way around its axle. If it were, the same twisting problem would return. So imagine an animal with a perfectly functioning wheel. Every time that wheel touches the ground, tiny amounts of material wear away. Dust, rocks, sand, and rough surfaces slowly grind it down. Day after day, the wheel becomes thinner, weaker, and more damaged. Normally, biology solves this kind of problem through constant repair. Bones heal after they break. Skin closes over cuts. Muscles rebuild themselves after exercise. Living tissues are remarkably good at maintenance. But a detached wheel couldn't repair itself while spinning freely. Once enough material wore away, the damage would simply accumulate until the wheel failed completely. Growth creates another impossible challenge. Every young animal starts small and grows larger. Puppies become dogs, baby elephants become adults. Human children grow for nearly 2 decades before reaching full size. A biological wheel couldn't easily do the same. If it stayed the same size from birth, an adult animal would still be trying to move on tiny juvenile wheels. If it somehow expanded while remaining detached, evolution would have to invent an entirely new method of growing rotating structures, something biology has never done. So even after solving the plumbing problem, evolution would still face maintenance, repair, and growth. The engineering difficulties keep piling up. At this point, it almost seems safe to say that biology simply cannot build a true wheel. Except it already has, just not where you'd expect. To find nature's real wheels, you have to shrink your perspective millions of times smaller. Look at a single bacterium swimming through water. Many bacteria move using long, whip-like tails called flagella. For years, scientists assumed these tails simply wiggled back and forth like tiny snakes. They don't. They rotate. At the base of each flagellum sits one of the most astonishing machines ever discovered in biology, a genuine rotary motor. Instead of bending, the entire structure spins like the propeller of a boat. It can rotate hundreds of times every second, pushing the bacterium through water with incredible efficiency. Even more impressive, many of these motors can instantly reverse direction, allowing the cell to stop, back up, or change course in an instant. This isn't just something that resembles a wheel. It is a real rotating axle built by evolution. The shaft spins continuously while anchored inside the cell, powered by tiny differences in electrical charge across the cell membrane. Nature didn't merely invent rotation, it perfected it. And bacteria aren't the only organisms using rotary machines. In fact, every person on Earth carries billions upon billions of them. Inside nearly every one of your cells are microscopic structures responsible for producing the energy that keeps you alive. Hidden within those structures is another rotary motor called app synthase. This molecular machine is unbelievably small, yet it functions much like a microscopic turbine. As charged particles flow through it, the central shaft spins at extraordinary speeds, often well over 100 revolutions every second. That spinning motion drives the production of app, the chemical fuel every living cell depends on. Without these rotary motors, your muscles couldn't contract, your brain couldn't think, your heart couldn't beat. Right now, as you're listening to these words, trillions of tiny biological motors are spinning inside your body without you ever noticing. So the real mystery was never whether evolution could invent a wheel. It clearly can. The question is why those wheels never became large enough to move an entire animal. The answer lies in one of the simplest physical processes in nature: diffusion. diffusion. Imagine releasing a drop of ink into a glass of water. Without stirring, the color slowly spreads throughout the glass all by itself. Individual molecules constantly move in random directions, eventually reaching every corner of the container. For something as tiny as a bacterium, diffusion is incredibly efficient. A molecule can cross the entire width of the cell in a fraction of a second without needing pumps, blood vessels, or a circulatory system. Everything the bacterium needs simply arrives naturally. Food diffuses in, waste diffuses out. Energy is generated exactly where it's needed. But here's the problem.